So, Jess, why did you become a realtor?
I worked in various customer service jobs, so I wanted something a little bit more rewarding. Becoming a real estate agent, being able to help people find their forever homes or their investment homes, starter homes. It's very exciting, so a lot of fun.
Now, you've gotten off to a really good start in your real estate career. What has been the most rewarding part of this for you so far?
Helping people, especially like first-time home buyers, finding their first home. They're so excited. I'm so excited to help them. So it's a nice, rewarding part.
What is it that you think makes you different than other real estate agents?
I think that my various roles in customer service has helped me. So I like to ask a lot of questions and I want to know what I'm doing. So I think that helps a lot because I'm not going to steer people the wrong way. I'm going to make sure they have knowledgeable decisions and help them find the right home.
Last thing I'm going to ask you is, and I know these are words that you live by, but the mantra at CTBB Realty is?
People over paychecks and do the damn thing.
And that's what we do.
The Giants are running New York like the Times as Danny is dropping all sorts of dimes. Saquon's thighs are ruining defenses' lives and Leonard Williams making opposing QBs feel him. Receivers think it's scary to line up across James Bradbury, and the Giants have a bright future led by Coach Judge, Jury, and Executioner. Tune in to Drawing About the G-Men every Wednesday at 6, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
This ain't some clown show organization or something else.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Vince 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Rister, along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and it is the best weekend of the year. The best weekend of the year this weekend. It is the divisional round of the playoffs. We got the top 8 teams in the NFL. With the Bengals, the Titans, the Niners, the Packers, the Rams, the Bucks, and the Bills and the Chiefs. But we'll start with the first game on Saturday, and that is the Bengals and the Titans. I mean, the Bengals had a great performance, had a really good performance last week. Joe Burrow played really well. Defense stepped up at the end. They've now earned a trip to Tennessee, a Tennessee team that, even though they didn't have Derrick Henry for half the season, they've had a really good year. Their defense is much improved. Ryan Tannehill's played pretty well, and AJ Brown's had a good year, has had a good year as well. So, for the game on Saturday afternoon in Tennessee, I think this is a close, competitive game, but I do think the Titans are going to have success on the ground, even if they might not have Derrick Henry, but I think him and Deontay Foreman are going to have success on the ground. I feel like that's going to open things up for AJ Brown and Julio Jones. So I think the Titans move the ball. I do think Joe Burrow has a good game too, but I think the difference in this game is going to be, I think the Titans defense is going to do a better job containing Joe Burrow than the Bengals defense is Ryan Tannehill or Derrick Henry. I think that the running game for the Titans is going to be better, and I think the coaching mismatch is I think the coaching mismatch. I think that Mike Vrabel is obviously a better coach than Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor's done a decent job, but he's definitely made some questionable in-game decisions the last couple of weeks, even though his team has won. So I think this is going to be a really close, competitive game. I think it's going to come down to the end. I think it's going to come down to the end with the ball in Joe Burrow's hands. But I'm going to take the Titans to advance the AFC Championship game for the second time in 4 years. I'm going to take the Titans to advance the AFC Championship game for the second time in 4 years and beat the Bengals 27-20. But, Justin, can Joe Burrow lead the Bengals to an upset win in Nashville?
It's very possible, but I'm with you. Titans 27-23. Burrow played well last week, and their offense is rolling. Him and Jamar Chase are that chemistry is just off the charts. The Titans got to be able to slow down that duo there. But for the Bengals all year, they converted less than 40% on third down. The Titans were one of the best, only allow opponents to get a first down 36% of the time. That's a big thing. The Bengals third and short. Titans are pretty good stopping the run, but third and short, they got to be able to convert first downs. And then one of the other stats I saw about Mike Vrabel is when he's got 8+ days to prepare for opponent, he's 8-0 straight up, 8-0 against the spread, and his team's scoring 29 points a game. They're only giving up 10 points a game. So, Mike Vrabel, extra time repair. I bet he's got something cooking for Joe Burrow. I bet some disguised blitzes are going to have on Burrow. Try to make him throw, make some mistakes. I expect him to have to make quick throws and quick decisions this game. Joe Burrow is going to have to. But as long as the Titans can kind of keep that Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow kind of duo in check, the Titans should be able to win this game. I do have them move it on 27-23.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big thing. If they can keep, how are they going to be able to? How are the Titans going to be able to defend Jamar Chase? I feel like they're going to double him. I feel like the Titans are going to double Jamar Chase and force Joe Burrow to beat them with Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. I think that's the one thing you have to do if you're the Tennessee Titans. Double Jamar Chase and force Higgins and Boyd to beat you. I feel like they're going to be able to contain Henry on the ground just because they've been good against the run all year. And I think they're going to be able to get pressure on Burrow in this game and force a mistake or two. I think that's going to be key. I think really, because the Bengals offensive line is shaky and the Titans get pressure on the quarterback with Harold Landry, with Jeffrey Simmons, with Danico Autry. I feel like they're going to be able to get pressure. As I said, my first point, I think the defense, the team, I know the Bengals have the better quarterback, but I just feel like the Titans have the better overall team and the better coaching and the better defense. That's what I said earlier. And I think the reason they advance is just because of the coach and because of their defense. That's why I think they advance in the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a coaching matchup or, mismatch here. Mike Vrabel's a guy that won 3 Super Bowls as a player. And Zach Taylor's done a nice job, but, I think this is as far as the Bengals are going to get under Zach Taylor. I can't see him taking him much farther than he has this year. And, the other thing about the Bengals defense is it seemed like at the end of that game or for most of it, like their defense really got banged up. There's, 4 or 5 players they had down, entire that game. So I don't know how healthy that defense is going to be. I know Trey Hutchinson's so questionable. So I think Tennessee could take advantage of that. They can really run the football with Henry, and you're probably going to see some Dante Foreman as well. And he's another bruising back that's tough to bring down. I think Tennessee's kind of going to be used as well as an advantage.
Yeah, and the thing is you brought up Trey Hendrickson. That's going to be big. He's questionable. He's in concussion protocol right now. That's going to be big. If he can't play in this game, because the Titans' offensive line is a little bit shaky. But if he can't play in this game, that's going to be a big loss for the Bengals. We saw what Hendrickson did last week, getting that strip sack. That led to 3 points for the Bengals last week. So Hendrickson, that's definitely going to be big for the Bengals. If he can't play, that's going to be big for the Bengals. Yeah,
absolutely. Because I know he hasn't racked up like a giant amount of like stats, but like he's been like a force, as you said, with the forced fumble last week. He's just kind of been, just one of those pieces this year with that Bengals defense that's just helped really improve overall. So yeah, he's been a leader in that defense. So yeah, absolutely, that could be a huge loss because Ryan Tannehill struggles under pressure, and again, he's prone to throwing some interceptions at times, and having Hendricks on the field there again could force Ryan Tannehill to throw a pick or two, and could be a big difference in the game.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, it should be a very interesting game between these two teams. I mean, I think a lot of us expected the Titans not to be the number 1 seed, but to be here. But the Bengals, we really didn't expect them to be here. So it should be very interesting to see what happens in this game between these two teams. I'm looking forward to it because I do think the Bengals have a shot to pull an upset here, especially if Derrick Henry can't play. I just got to go with the team with the better roster and the better coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too as well. I was definitely thinking about it. About how banged up the Bengals could be on defense. There's a lot of question marks right now. Yeah, the Titans, I think, really needed that week off because they've used 91 guys all year. Like they've used so many guys that I think this was a good week for them to have a bye here, kind of get healthy, get right. Yeah, Julio Jones and A.J. Brown are both healthy. Hopefully they have Derrick Henry healthy as well. So, yeah, but the Titans that definitely do better roster, getting healthy, playing a Bengals team that has – I don't think they've ever won a playoff road game either. So, Bengals – and I know the playoffs have had their problems. So, yeah, I think the Titans do have an advantage here, and they do find a way at home to pull it out.
It should be very, very interesting to see what happens between these two teams. Should be very interesting. But we got to get to the nightcap on Saturday night, and that's between the 49ers and the Packers. The 49ers obviously got here by beating Dallas in Dallas on Sunday. But if they want to win this game in this round, they need Jimmy Garoppolo to play better. He cannot throw that interception he threw in the fourth quarter, and he also can't miss Brandon Ayuk wide open. Those were two plays that gave Dallas a chance in that game. He has got to play better if they're going to beat the Packers this week, because you're not going to get away with that against the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And there's injuries. I mean, we got a comment from Riley. A lot of people think the 49ers have a legitimate chance to upset the Packers. I think a big reason for that is because of the history, and the Packers aren't great against the run either. They're not great against the run. So yes, they do have a chance. But the one thing the Niners have to do, they want any chance to beat the Packers, and I said this last week, even against the Cowboys, is they have to be able to run the football. If the Niners aren't able to run the football, they're not going to win this game. If they don't run for over 100 yards, they will not win this game against the Packers. They need to have over 100 yards rushing to win this game against the Packers, because they cannot put this game on Jimmy G. They need to run the ball, be able to keep that defense off the field, and have that defense be fresh to go up against Aaron Rodgers. They have to be able to run the football, just like they did 2 years ago in the NFC Championship game. I mean, they can't have Jimmy G throw the ball 8 times because this Packers defense is better against the run, but still got to be able to run the ball if they want to beat the Packers in Lambeau on Saturday night. Also, I feel like they're going to need they got some injuries on defense. I think Warner is going to play, but there's a chance that Nick Bosa might not play. He's in concussion protocol, so that's going to be really. I think they're going to need Nick Bosa in a game like this, because you do have David Bakhtiari, who's a little bit rusty. Nick Bosa could definitely affect Aaron Rodgers in the passing game. If they don't have him, I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to have a pretty easy time moving the ball. We got another comment from Pride. I think Jimmy G needs to throw 20-plus times in this game to add the element of dimension. Yeah, I think they need to be balanced. They need to be balanced. They got to be able to run the ball. Jimmy G's got to play mistake-free if they're going to win this game. But I do feel like they're going to be able to run the ball, but not enough. And I do feel like Jimmy G is going to turn the ball over a couple times. And I don't think Nick Bosa is going to play. That's why I think Aaron Rodgers has a good game. And that's why I got the Packers winning it by 2 scores. I got the Packers beating the Niners 31-20. But Justin, can San Francisco's run game and defense help them get another playoff win over the Packers?
If everybody was healthy, I'd definitely take the Niners over the Packers. But because of that, I had the Packers 24-20. The comment from Hector: Niners beat the Packers the last 3 times they faced off in the playoffs. Last time in 2019. Yeah, as you mentioned, that 2019 NFC Championship game where the Niners ran all over them. They did not need Jimmy G to throw it all in that game. And I if they were healthy, the Niners, I knew Warner, Bosa, and Jimmy G were all healthy. I'd probably pick the Niners because the Packers, I'm not really confident in them. But with all the question marks, I think that the Packers find a way to get it done in this game. And especially the Niners don't have Bosa and Warner. I think, Aaron Rodgers is going to have time to throw the ball, get the ball to Devontae Adams, where the Niners have struggled at times in the secondary. I think the Niners, could give up some big plays. But, I think for the Niners in this game, they got to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. It's just, they got to be able to, as you mentioned, they got to be able to run the football. They're going to have, Elijah Mitchell, I know, was limited in practice yesterday, but he should play. They need to get that running game going. They need to win the time of possession. They need to have the ball for 35, somewhere in the range of 35 to 40 minutes. It just keep Aaron Rodgers off the field, keep that, and just, keep that defense fresh, give Aaron Rodgers less possessions out there. That's going to be huge, And the other thing is Jimmy G is a guy that you met. He turns the football over. He had that big interception last week. Aaron Rodgers is a guy, he's only thrown 2 picks since week 1. Against a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, I can't take Jimmy G to beat Aaron Rodgers right now with everything going on, because Aaron Rodgers doesn't turn over the football. I think, Jimmy G probably makes a bad throw or two, costs his team, and I think Aaron Rodgers takes advantage of it. They're going to have, and then the last thing to Niners. If they can run the football, they can use play action effectively. They can get something going with Deebo Samuel in the running game to bring that element of the game into it. Brandon Ayuk can be a big play threat. Like if they can run the football, open it up for play action, I think it's going to be, easier for Jimmy G to be able to throw the football. But I do have the Packers find a way to get this win at home, 24-20.
Yeah, and to talk about Hector's point there, the Niners have beaten the Packers the last 3 times they faced in the playoffs. Yes, they have. And I take stock out of the 2019 game, but the 2 games in 2012 and 2013, to me, those are irrelevant because that was a totally different Niners team. The one in 2019, yes, I take stock in that game because they were able to run the ball down their throats, and it was the same team. Jimmy G was the quarterback, Kyle Shanahan was the coach, a lot of the same players on defense. So yes, I take stock in that game. I don't take stock in those other 2 games. I just feel like that was just a different Niners team. And I think, but the last 2 matchups they've played, the Packers have won. The Packers destroyed them last year on Thursday Night Football, and then in the Sunday night game, which was a great game in Week 3, the Packers were able to win. And a big reason why they were able to win that game was how good Aaron Rodgers was. And another reason why another reason why they won the game is because Aaron Rodgers was on the field a lot. I mean, Jimmy G played well, but I feel like this Packers defense has guys back. They got Za'Darius Smith, they got Jari Alexander back. And they'll probably have David Bakhtiari back for protection too. And the Niners won't have Nick Bosa. So it was a close game. I know the Niners historically have played the Packers well. I just feel like right now the Packers are clearly the better team going to the game. And the Niners proved last week that they're a good team. They're not as good as they were. They're not as good as they were 2 years ago. They're just not. I mean, their defense is not as good. And Jimmy G, I think Jimmy G is just not as good either. I mean, missing wide receivers, throwing a bad interception. I just feel like it's going to be a Packers win. I feel like it's going to be a Packers win by 2 scores because I think they're just clearly the better team.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, especially because it sounds like Jimmy, that shoulder injury sounds like it's a pretty bad strain. So it sounds like he's going to start. But, yeah, like if he's really not healthy, I could see the Packers win this thing by 2 scores, especially, if they don't have Bosa or Warner. Yeah, it was a competitive game Week 3. And then, in 19, the blowout. Like the Niners do play them. The Niners played them tough. I think Week 3, the Packers, kind of were not healthy then, already. And now it's a much different team now. 49ers by 50.
All right, Pride. Come on now. 49ers by 50. You should be. I hope he's joking about that. 49ers by 50. Come on now. Come on, dude. Come on.
I think he is.
Pride like the Niners. I just wasn't impressed with the way the 49ers closed out that game. I think a championship team closes that game out a lot. I know you were joking, but a championship team doesn't kick 3 field goals in the first half, and they close out that game against the Cowboy team that committed 14 penalties and had a terrible play at the end of the game. I just think a championship team closes that game out. I just feel like with Jimmy Garoppolo as the quarterback, the Niners are good. They're not championship level to where the Packers are.
No, absolutely, yeah. Because the Niners should have won that game by 3 scores. There's no excuse. Yeah, they had some dumb penalties, turnover. End the game. They thought the Niners covered. They were kind of letting Dallas kind of get down the field there, until the end. But yeah, I think the Niners are a good team, but they don't have enough around to be a championship team. They got in there with Jimmy G to the Super Bowl, but it kind of seems like the last few years he's kind of taken some steps backwards. I know he hasn't been totally healthy. But, it just seems like throws that he's making a few years ago, he's not making now. And it's kind of been a problem. And, I think it could be costly this week to him. Packers 49ers are a good team. Packers are a great team.
Yeah, Pride hit the nail on the head. 49ers are a good team. Packers are a great team. I mean, they're both top 5 teams in the NFC, but the Packers are just, I think a level ahead of the Niners right now. I just think they're a level ahead.
Yeah, I think so too. Niners are healthy. I'd like them in this game. Because as long as the Packers do not beat themselves, because again the special teams issues they've had all year, they defensively they've kind of had their lapses this year, and it kind of concerns me. But I think with everything going with the Niners, they should be able to steal this. They should be able to get out of this one alive and heading to next week. But I do have some concerns about the Packers. But right now I do think they are the better team than the Niners. Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Jimmy G. and they should find a way to be able to do enough against this team, against the Niners team that, again, like the last 2 years, it just seems like the Niners just have had to go through, so much injury-wise and could come back to bite the Niners again, that they're not completely healthy going this game.
Justin, that's a great point. If it is possible that the Packers should – yeah. Oh, yeah. The Packers the Packers don't, make mistakes, they won't lose this game. And I mean, yeah. And then the Niners can't make some of the mistakes they made last week. If they make some of the mistakes they made last week, I mean, the penalty Trent Williams had at the end of the game, that gave the Cowboys a chance. The roughing the kicker, the interceptions. I mean, if the Niners play like they did in the second half, they'll have no chance to win this game. So, if the Packers play their game, they definitely should win. Yeah, no, absolutely, they should. They really should. As long as they don't make the mistakes that they have on special teams. Defensively. Again, you saw the Bears game. The Bears special teams kept the Bears in that game, that Sunday night game a few weeks ago. Think they believe that Bears didn't do a ton offensively. And Hector's comment, how long does Aaron Rodgers have left if he doesn't go or win the Super Bowl? It's been 11 years since the Packers won the Super Bowl. I mean, I think he has 4 or 5. I think he has 4 or 5 good years left. I really do. I think he has 4 or 5 good years left. And a big reason why that drought. He has an 11-year drought is because he just hadn't. I mean, really, for most of those 11 years, guess who his head coach was? Mike McCarthy. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is the top 3 quarterback to play the game. I just don't think he's had the he had Rodgers. No. I disagree with Pride there. If you have Aaron Rodgers on your team, you have a legitimate shot to win the Super Bowl. He goes to Pittsburgh next year. He goes to Denver next year. Those teams have legitimate shots to win the Super Bowl because Rodgers right now, in my opinion, is the best player in the league. I don't think it's about Rodgers for the Packers. I feel like it's about this Packers team executing. I think it's about the rest of the team. Matt LaFleur making good in-game decisions and this Packers team executing. That's what it's about. It's not about Rodgers. Rodgers is fine. Rodgers is outstanding, and he's been outstanding for years. It's about this Packers team and this coaching staff executing. Yeah, absolutely. It really has with all the other teams that are stepping up and playing great. No, I'm with you. Like I think it depends where he falls, but as you mentioned, Denver's got a great defense. They have some great young offensive weapons, but they just haven't found that quarterback. Pittsburgh, they still, they got to fix that offensive line, but again, they still have all the talent in the world defensively. They have some good young weapons. They have a really good running back in Najee Harris. I think if Rodgers goes to those couple teams, again, they're fine. They'll be right there. That Denver defense can keep them in a lot of games. Again, they may not win the division with Patrick Mahomes being in there, but they should win. They would get a wild card. He's lost the NFC Championship game the last 2 years. I'll explain why he's lost the NFC Championship game the last 2 years. The first year, that team could not stop the run. That's why he lost the game. That team got way far behind. They couldn't stop the run. I mean, that's why he lost the game. He didn't have the better team in year one. That's why he lost that game. And last year, the reason he lost that game is because Matt LaFleur took the ball out of his hands. He clearly took the ball. You got to let Aaron Rodgers try to convert a 4th down. The coach took the ball out of his hands. So, yeah, he's lost the last 2 NFC Championship games, but I still think he has been on top of his game. And I think the problem has been 2 years ago it was the defense, and last year it was the head coach. So, yeah, but he has been on top of his game. I'm not concerned about Aaron Rodgers. I'm concerned about everything around Aaron Rodgers that could hurt the Packers, that could end up being what hurts what doesn't make the Packers win the Super Bowl. Yeah, absolutely. It's been part of the problem all year for him. Yeah, because it's like I trust Rodgers, Devontae Adams, but it's like the rest of the team. I know they've kind of getting more healthy defensively as well on the offensive line, but it's like outside of those two, it's like nobody's really being great for the Packers this year. They've kind of just games that they've lost. They've kind of they got week 1 game. Again, I know it's week 1, everything going on in the preseason, but they got to absolutely wax that game. Rodgers is horrible. But then since then, it's like, rest of the year, I think it was 37 touchdowns and two interceptions. Like, again, that is impressive. He is definitely on the top of his game. And he is going to be the one that leads them. But yeah, the thing about the Packers is the Packers are not going to make the Super Bowl because of everything else around them. Rodgers is not going to lose them a chance to go to the Super Bowl. He's going to take them there.
who else around him is going to be able to step up, make the big play, help him out? Because, yeah, it's kind of been – I'm with you. Everything else around the Packers has not gone their way. Coaching, again, the defense 2 years ago. You can't really blame Rodgers for not being able to – for his defense not being able to stop the run. You can't really put that on him. So, look, the Packers right now, they should win the NFC with everything going on with the Bucs. The Rams look good, but we'll see. Going into this week in Tampa Bay, Packers right now should win this. Should win the NFC. They should be going to the playoffs. But yeah, as long, problem is they've beaten themselves. Coaching wise, the defense. So yeah, it's pretty much. I think the Packers kind of conference to lose here, but again, we've seen it happen the last few years of them kind of around Aaron Rodgers kind of fall apart.
We'll see what happens on Saturday. Should be interesting to see these longtime NFC rivals go at it. But we're going to stay in the NFC, and we got a matchup in Tampa Bay as the Rams travel to Tampa to face the Bucs. And I picked the Bucs to win the Super Bowl before the season started, but I would not be surprised if the Rams won this game. I think the Bucs got some injury issues. Tristan Wirfs, Ryan Jensen. That could be a major, major problem if they got to go up against that Rams defensive line with Von Miller, with Leonard Floyd, and obviously with the great Aaron Donald. So, I mean, that could be a real problem in that game. But the Rams do have Andrew Whitworth, might not play either, so that could even things out. I think in this game, I think it's a close, competitive game. But another big key is going to be is can Leonard Fournette play? And if he can play, and I feel like he's going to play in this game, I think Leonard Fournette. I think Aaron Donald will be suspended.
I don't think they will. I saw that play.
He's going to play. I think Aaron Donald's going to play.
I can't see Goodell suspending him now in the playoffs. I can't see him doing that.
No, not at all. I think this is going to be a close, competitive game. And listen, I think there's a very good chance the Rams could win this game. Great chance the Rams could win this game. That's why I think it's going to be really close. But I'm going to go with the Bucs, and there's obviously two reasons why I'm going to go with the Bucs. I think it's going to be the running game of the Buccaneers. I think they're going to run the football better than the Rams. And I think the second point is the obvious one. Tom Brady against Matthew Stafford in the postseason, and I can never take Matthew Stafford to beat Tom Brady. I think the game is close and competitive till the end, and I think that ball's in Matthew Stafford's hands with the Rams having a chance to win the game. But he either doesn't get it done or he turns the ball over, and that's why I got the Bucs heading to the NFC Championship game for the second year in a row, beating the Rams 24-20. But Justin, can the Rams D get pressure on Brady, and can Stafford play mistake-free for the Rams to beat the Bucs for the third straight time?
I think it's very possible, but I'm with you. I got to take the Bucs over the Rams just because of the factor of Tom Brady versus Matthew Stafford. Even though, before the year, I picked the Rams to beat the Bucs in the NFC Championship game, but more thing about it, I can't see Matthew Stafford knocking off Tom Brady at home, even with how banged up they are. Yeah, because talking about the center position, if Jensen can't go, it's a rookie out of Notre Dame, Robert Hansey, he's only had 5 snaps in the NFL, and at that center spot, he moved from center, or he moved over from guard to center, so he's not an experienced center. First time going up, playing with Brady at that position, you're gonna have to slow down Aaron Donald. I could see that being a major problem if Ryan Jensen can't go in this game. Even worse too, because
worse.
Good.
Yeah, you saw last week Ryan Kerrigan, who's washed up, destroyed the right tackle last week. Brady got sacked 4 times last week. The offensive line was an issue when Wirfs was out for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, it was. He struggled. Yeah, it really was, and that's going to be a problem going up against the Rams, who have some really good pass rushers. So, did a really good job last week of containing Kyler Murray. He really had nowhere to go. So yeah, Von Miller's been good. Leonard Floyd's been good. Obviously, they got Aaron Donald the inside. If the Bucs are banged up on the offensive front, I really think it could be a problem. But if the Bucs are are banged up on offense, no matter how good Tom Brady is, that Rams defense can exploit that and win the game.
Yeah, here's the thing: the way the Rams could exploit that is if they stop the run they did the first time. If they stop the run, I feel like if the Rams hold the Bucs under 50, 75 yards, I'd say 50 yards rushing, I think they're going to win the game because they're going to completely exploit that because we all know what gives Tom Brady problems over the years, pressure. Started with the Giants, started with the Ravens. Teams that pressure Tom Brady get – what do you say? What did you say, Justin? but yeah, and even the Rams, yeah, and then the Saints since he's been with the Bucs. It's just the teams that get pressure Tom Brady, give him trouble. And if the Buccaneers can't run the football, I think they're going to have a lot of problems in this game because I do feel like the Rams are going to play man coverage. They should have Jalen Ramsey shadowing Mike Evans all game long. They're making a huge mistake if they don't have Jalen Ramsey shadowing Mike Evans in this game. So yeah, I think pressure. If the Bucs are banged up on the offensive line, I think it could be and they don't run the ball. It could be a very tough day for Tom Brady. And I could very easily see the Rams advancing on to the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's too a lot of pressure on the Rams still, just because they have really packaged their future here to go all in this year, and to not even get the NFC Championship game. I think it's going to really be a major kind of a disappointing season for the Rams, and I think for the fan base. So, I think there's a lot of pressure on the Rams that they have to go out and get this game, kind of for everything, all the moves that they made to kind of say, all right, we kind of got the NFC Championship. Obviously it's not the ultimate goal that we wanted, but you only win one playoff game out of all the future, giving up all the draft picks, going out getting Von Miller, and all that. So I think there's a lot of pressure on the Rams here, but yeah, if they start to run, if they're not healthy, I could totally see the Rams coming in here and win that game because you're right. Brady struggles when he's under pressure. He's so good at feeling it out, but again, he can't move like most quarterbacks nowadays that we see and get out of the pocket and be able to make plays with his feet. He's not able to really do that. So yeah, if the Rams can kind of disguise himself, try to get fuse them toward at the line of scrimmage there before plays, I think that the Rams have a really good shot. But yeah, then with the Rams and Stafford, just I know he didn't have it Monday night, Stafford, but Stafford has that one bad play that just kind of derails their chances and kind of is a big part of the outcome in the game. So yeah, he's got to stay away from that one bad turnover like he did on Monday night. He played really well Monday night. We'll see if he can do it again Sunday. Especially against Odell's been a huge target for him. That's been a great pickup for him. Cooper Kupp has been unbelievable, and the Bucs secondary isn't great. So I could see Matthew Stafford racking up a lot of yards and a couple touchdowns. But yeah, can he stay away from the one big turnover? That's kind of been the calling card for him all year. He's made that one bad mistake this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and going off and talking about recapping your 2 points. First with the Rams with pressure. Yeah, there's a ton of pressure on the Rams because they've mortgaged both these teams have went big. But I think there's a ton of pressure on the Rams because they've mortgaged so much to win a Super Bowl this year. They've to play in that Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium. They've mortgaged so much. And there's definitely more pressure on them than the Bucs because the Bucs, they got it done last year. They went out, they signed Tom Brady, and they ended up getting it done. So I definitely think there's more pressure on the Rams. And for Stafford, yeah, he can't make that one terrible, terrible decision. And I think I don't have as much faith in him in this game that he's going to have a great game because of the fact that I don't think the Rams are going to be able to run the ball the way they did on Monday night against the Cardinals. The Buccaneers are a great run defense. They got Levante David back. Obviously, they got Vita Vea and Devin White in the middle. The Buccaneers have a great run defense. So I do think that Stafford could make a very critical mistake that could cost the Rams in this game. So I think the Rams, I feel like they got to win this game because of their defense, because I think the Rams are going to have some trouble running the football.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point. Yeah, because the Eagles couldn't do anything on Sunday, you saw, and that kind of forced, Hurts and pressure made some bad mistakes. Here's a comment from O'Reilly to Steven's point. Bucs already won a Super Bowl, so yeah, that pressure's gone.
The Rams need this because it's a super. Yeah, I feel like for the Rams, they were the one team. I mean, the Cowboys play the game like it's Super Bowl or bust mentality, but realistically, the Rams, they built this team for it to be Super Bowl or bust mentality because of everything they've given up.
Oh yeah, absolutely, they have. It's to not really have any first round. It's so what, like the 2024, 2025, they don't have like a first round pick too. They've kind of gone all in here of trying to win a Super Bowl this year. Forgot the point too that you made. Yeah, it's in there. It's in SoFi Stadium too. They would love to kind of go play in their home stadium again for a Super Bowl. They've mortgaged so much this year. Going out and getting Matthew Stafford in the offseason, as well as another one. They kind of get rid of Jared Goff. There's a ton of pressure on Stafford. You're the kind of the guy that they wanted to. Jared Goff was able to get the team to a Super Bowl. I know it's a different roster, but there's a lot of the same guys. Goff was able to get them there. I know their defense was unbelievable, but there's a lot of pressure in Stafford that have to kind of lead this team to a Super Bowl. He was good in Detroit, but again, this year he's been good. It's like that one mistake. So I do think there's a lot of pressure on Stafford in this game, and if they win next week, to kind of get this team to the Super Bowl and even win it. That's what he was brought in here to do, and he's got he's good enough to do it. It's just he's just got to stay away from the mistakes that have cost him and his team games this year.
Yeah, exactly. You obviously, when you're facing a team like the Buccaneers, I know they're all banged up, but they're still the defending champs. You can't make those big mistakes. I mean, it should be interesting to see what happens on Sunday when the Bucs and Rams play against each other. But we got to get to the late game on Sunday night, and that is a rematch of the AFC Championship game between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think this is going to be a fun game. I think these two teams are going to. I don't think it's going to be like the first game where the Bills blew them out. The Chiefs just weren't playing well at that point in the season. But I think this is going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be back and forth, up and down the field. I think both teams. I don't think the punters are going to be busy in this game. I don't think there's going to be much punting. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, the two best young quarterbacks in football, going at it. I think it's just like Riley said, this game could be a shootout. I think this game is definitely going to be a shootout and go back and forth. But I think the difference in this game is going to be the defense. I think which defense is going to make any play? Which defense is going to make one play in this game? And I have more confidence that Buffalo's defense is going to make a play more than I do Kansas City's defense. Buffalo clearly is a better defense. And that's, I think, why I think Buffalo is going to beat Kansas City this year, is because I feel like last year their defense wasn't good enough to make a play. I feel like their defense was decent last year. It wasn't great. Their defense has definitely improved this year, and I feel like they're going to make a play. They're going to force a turnover from Patrick Mahomes, and that's why I think they're going to win the game. I think it'll be up and down the field, but I do think Buffalo forced that one turnover in that game to give Josh Allen a short field so he can capitalize on that. I think the game is close, competitive till the end. I feel like it'll be close at the end with Josh Allen with the ball in his hands. I think he leads the Bills on a game-winning drive. I got the Bills pulling the upset and heading to the AFC Championship game for the second year in a row, beating the Chiefs 34-31. But Justin, can Patrick Mahomes get revenge from Week 5 and lead the Chiefs back to the AFC Championship game for the fourth year in a row?
It's very, very possible, but I'm with you. I got the Bills 31-28. I remember last year, Stephon Diggs too sat out there and watched the Chiefs celebrate too. Like I do think too, like the Bills come in with that chip on their shoulder of revenge still from what happened last year. But yeah, I do think the Chiefs have a great shot. It's at home. Mahomes has been unbelievable. In the second half of the year, the Chiefs are always great at home. It's a tough place to play. The Chiefs in that AFC Championship game last year was the big plays, and as you mentioned, the Bills have been a lot better in that area all around defensively this year. Tyreek Hill had 172 yards in that game and 9 catches. They got to be able to slow him down this time around. Can the Chiefs run the football, effectively enough in this game to kind of use some play action stuff? I think the Bills, got to be able to contain Patrick Mahomes as well. And Hector's comment, is it really an upset if Buffalo wins? I believe they are.
Yeah, arguably, I don't think it might even be an upset. I think they're an underdog, but I don't know if we even really consider it an upset if Buffalo wins. Seeing what they did to Kansas City the first time, and seeing that really, I mean, they clearly, their offense, I know Kansas City's offense is better, but Buffalo's offense is close to as good. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I think Buffalo's a better team. So Hector's right there. I think we probably don't even consider it an upset. Yeah, they're an underdog, but I think it's hard to even consider it an upset if Buffalo wins.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, I think they're very two evenly matched teams. Like I think you could go across the board, and I think they both are really good teams. I think the point spread's like only 1.5 now or 2, depending on where you look. So I wouldn't really call it an upset. I think Buffalo's got as much talent as Kansas City does offensively. And I think the Bills, as you mentioned, are a little bit better defensively, and I trust them more to get that big stop. Yeah, no way. Riley's comment, no way it's an upset. Bills are better defensively, and offensively it's close.
They're better defensively. I still think offensively the Chiefs are the better team offensively because they got the better quarterback. They got the better quarterback and the better offensive line. The Chiefs are a better team offensively, but the Bills are definitely a better team defensively. So it's pretty even between the two teams, but the Chiefs definitely. Do you guys think? Yeah, absolutely. I think the Bills. I think the Bills. Yeah, if the Bills could get a run game, that's definitely going to improve their chances of winning this game. Absolutely. And the Bills' run game has been better recently. It hasn't been great, but it's been better. So yeah, if the Bills can get a run game, that definitely increases their chances of winning this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about the run game, even with Allen, like the Chiefs have given up the 6th most rushing yards allowed to a quarterback this year and the most rushing touchdown to a quarterback this year. So, like, even in regard to just using Josh Allen as an RPO, I think could be a huge factor. Maybe they're more keyed on stopping Josh Allen in a read option or something like that. And David Singleton or Zach Moss can, get a nice 8-9 yard game because the end's kind of crashing and trying to stop Josh Allen. So I think that could be something that's very possible. That maybe that's how they get Singletary or Moss going on the ground game and, having some success and kind of opening things up because, Buffalo's offense, I feel like since the second half of that Tampa Bay game, they've been a juggernaut. They have really looked good. What they did to New England last week, nobody does that to Bill Belichick. Now it's the second time in a row that they didn't have to play against New England. I know it's not the vintage New England defense, but still. And as you mentioned before the show we were talking, Bill has pretty much figured out every other quarterback besides Josh Allen. He can't figure them out.
No, not at all. Not at all. The way the Bills' run game doesn't need to be the best. It just needs. Exactly. It just needs to be respectable. And if it's respectable, I think they have a really, really good chance, obviously, to win this game. Because Kansas City doesn't have a great run game either. So if they could keep Kansas City off the field, get pressure on Patrick Mahomes, they have they might even win this game they could win the game by if they have a good running game, they can win the game by 2 scores again.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the Chiefs the last time had 4 turnovers in that game. It was a big difference. Like Buffalo's been good at kind of forcing turnovers this year. Again, that play Micah Hyde made on Mac Jones in the first series there in the end zone. That was a great interception.
Unbelievable play there. Unbelievable play.
Yeah. Like Mac threw a perfect ball, and Hyde just made a great play. Like I could see Micah Hyde doing something like that against Patrick Mahomes, turning the tide. Who knows? That's why he's one of the best safeties in the game. So, yeah, I could see something like that. A turnover, too, for Buffalo could be huge. I feel it's going to come down to which quarterback can work under pressure of the opposing defense.
Exactly. Exactly. I think both quarterbacks can be under some kind of pressure. And I think Allen might be under more pressure because the Bills' offensive line isn't as good. But I just don't think it matters because of how mobile Allen is and how good he is under pressure. He's really good under pressure. Bills don't have a great offensive line, but the guy's just really good. He's really mobile. He's got a great arm. I just think how good he is under pressure. I don't think it's gonna. I think it could matter, but I don't think it's gonna matter that much. I think Allen might be under pressure, but I just think he's gonna be able to make plays under pressure. And obviously Mahomes might be under some pressure, but the Chiefs' offensive line is a little bit better. So we'll see. It could come down to that, but I just think it's obviously at the end of the day, I think it's just gonna be a really fun game to watch. I think it's gonna go back and forth and go either way. But I just think the Bills win it just because their defense is the defense I trust more to make some sort of a play to give Allen a short field.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too. Buffalo's defense has been good. I think it's been better the last few weeks. Thought they were pretty good last week. It's like, the Chiefs defense has gotten better throughout the year. It really has. But yeah, I'm still at the point of, can they make that big stop in a game? And I don't know if I'm there right now still either. And then the way Josh Allen's playing this offense, I see Buffalo making I see Buffalo's defense making that big play, that big stop when they need it, more so right now than Kansas City. So I'm with you there. I think it's going to be a big, that's definitely going to be a huge key to the game and definitely could determine who wins this game.
Absolutely. Should be a great game between these two teams. Should be a really fun game between the Bills and the Chiefs. But we got to talk about some other NFL news. And this week, in Dallas, Jerry Jones canceled his hit on 105.3 The Fan, his weekly hit on Tuesdays on 105.3 The Fan. But we heard later that day that Stephen Jones is very confident that the Cowboys are going to bring Mike McCarthy back as their head coach. The Cowboys are kind of in no man's land. It's hard to fire a head coach after he goes 12-5. But I feel like that 12-5 record was – the Cowboys were not as good as their record this year. 6 of those wins came against the NFC East, which was not a good division. Again, it was improved from last year, but they couldn't have been. All you could go up with the NFC East. All you can do is go up from last year with the NFC East. And when 2 of those wins are to the Giants, when 4 of those wins are to the Giants and the Washington Football Team, and even the Eagles, that's 6 of those wins. A lot of these wins were not against good. Really, the only considerably good team they beat was the Patriots, but the Patriots weren't playing well. They got the Patriots at the right time. So I think that the Cowboys are in no man's land. I don't feel like they're going to win a Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy. But when you're 12-5, can you really fire a head coach? So I feel like the Cowboys are kind of in no man's land. But we saw all the issues with clock management early in the season. Question: doesn't Kellen Moore deserve more blame than he's getting? Yes, I do think Kellen Moore deserves more blame. Yeah, he called it really.
The last few weeks, he didn't call a really good game. The last few weeks.
Yeah, and I think the thing is with Kellen Moore is with the talent on the Cowboys offense was very, very inconsistent. So, yes, I do think Kellen Moore deserves a little bit more blame there. But also Mike McCarthy deserves blame. I mean, the clock management was absolutely horrendous this year. It didn't come back to bite him in week 2 or week 3. It didn't come back to bite him against the Giants in week 15. But it came back to bite him against the Cardinals. And then the obvious quarterback draw with 14 seconds to go. That was an absolutely terrible play call to take the ball out of Dak's hands. That was inexcusable. I mean, Mike McCarthy, I think he survives this, but next year his seat better be hot.
Absolutely. And actually, I don't know I saw this right before we went on air. Troy Aikman actually ripped the Cowboys game plan. He said he was not, he said he doesn't understand why like CD Lamb only had one target, and then kind of said the game is not that difficult. So like even the Cowboy legend there, Troy Aikman, not happy with what's going on. So yeah, no, again, like, going Riley's point, I just didn't think Kellen Moore the last couple of weeks had a really good offensive game plan with all the weapons they had. Again, like, yeah, only targeting CD Lamb once in a game. I think he could be a top of the line wide receiver, if he can get rid of the drops. But yeah, like the clock management issues, it was a problem all year. And Dak deserves some of that blame there at the end of the game too. He's got to realize, because you run the 2-minute drill every day in practice, you have to realize, okay, I got to slide at this point. Like I know in this amount of time I can get to this yards. I could get 10, 15 yards on the field. You got to be able to have that going in your head. Now that is also a point too that McCarthy or Moore's got to kind of tell him too, like no timeouts. Get down. Have enough time to get down and take a knee, or spike it. That's a point too. But yeah, and McCarthy just it's a talented team. But another thing too is if Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn both get like a probably more specifically Dan Quinn than Kellen Moore, but like what happens if he loses his two coordinators? Like Dan Quinn in that defense this year, like is another defensive coordinator gonna get what Dan Quinn got this defense this year? Because that was a remarkable turnaround. I thought Kellen Moore was good most of the year calling plays, but like the last couple of weeks I wasn't a big fan of him. But like, what happens if he loses two coordinators, especially Dan Quinn? And that defense kind of takes a step back, and they go to 10-7, maybe next year 9-8, who knows? But yeah, I think McCarthy should definitely be on the hot seat. I think this team has too much talent in a division like the NFC East. They should win it, but yeah, they should be able to steal some games. Like they should have beat the Raiders. They should have beat the Cardinals. That absolutely atrocious effort against Denver. It was unexcusable. So yeah, Mike McCarthy should definitely be on the hot seat. Again, obviously I did not think Jerry Jones was going to fire him, but for the end of the game and all the kind of mistakes they've had the last 2 years, and I wouldn't have been shocked if he was fired, because even last year I thought that team was better than the. I know Dak was hurt, but in a bad division like it was. But McCarthy deserves a lot of blame of what's kind of gone on. This year and even last year. I've said it a couple times, but it makes sense why he's only won one Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. He's not a good game coach.
No, not at all. And yeah, the clock management really obviously came back to hurt this team. But I just feel like, Jerry Jones is not going to fire a coach after he wins 12 games. And he's stuck with Jason Garrett he's stuck with Jason Garrett for 8.5 years. So I just don't feel like he's gonna stick with he's gonna stick with Mike McCarthy next year. He's gonna be on the hot seat, and I feel like he has to get the Cowboys at least a playoff win and probably the NFC Championship game if he's gonna keep his job.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I gotta think this team's only gonna get better in the offseason. With draft wise, and who knows what they do in free agency. Like this shouldn't just come back better. Again, like in the NFC East, like the Eagles, we saw what the Eagles are. They were down 31-0 against the Bucks. They didn't really beat anybody. Like this is the Cowboys division to lose again. Like the Cowboys should be able to win this game by the division by at least 3 games again. Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones, McCarthy sleeping in his house. I feel like Jerry is going to give McCarthy that third year. Yeah. That's crazy how desperate Jerry Jones wanted Mike McCarthy. I think the only reason Jerry Jones wanted Mike McCarthy so bad is he saw him win the Super Bowl in his stadium. So I mean, I don't. And they only hired 2 coach. They only gave 2 coaches an interview, him and Marvin Lewis. So, and I think part of the problem. Yeah, it's Mike McCarthy is a problem, but part of the problem, it goes back to Jerry Jones, though. How many? And it's been a problem since 1995. Talent isn't the issue. I feel like this team has one of the better, not the best roster, one of the better rosters in the league usually every year. But the problem with the Cowboys is the coaching. The coaching. They either have retreads or puppets. Like Wade Phillips and Mike McCarthy were retreads, and they had a puppet with Jason Garrett. And the number one problem is Jerry Jones. Coaches with choices, coaches that are good, don't want to coach with Jerry Jones. And that's probably why if the Cowboys have like a 9-8 next year, I feel like they need to hire a general manager, because the problem is with Jerry having so much control, I feel like the good coaches don't want to coach with him.
No, absolutely. And I don't blame them, it's not like baseball, where these coaches and managers want to be controlled by, their GM and front offices. In football, it's not really at that point yet. So I don't blame, coaches, the ones up in the upper tier for not going to Dallas. It's been the problem with Jerry Jones being the GM. They do have usually a very talented roster, and it's been the coaching. It's just been the execution, especially in the playoffs. Like they just cannot figure out a way to get it done with the talent they have, especially this year offensively. Again, this probably should have been a team that won like 14 games, 15 games. This team should have probably been the 1 seed. And, again, maybe being able to get over that hump and get to the NFC Championship game. It's been the problem. And again, I don't see Jerry Jones passing on that GM thing, but as we talk, you probably got to think, even if Jerry Jones does end up getting, or retiring or whatever, ends up passing away due to something, it probably the GM probably goes to stunt Steven. That's what I'm guessing is going to happen anyways. Like it's just going to go from one Jones to the other. Unless it's, that's what I'm imagining would happen with the Cowboys. That's probably what Jerry wants, but maybe Steven's got to change of heart, hopefully, and goes out and gets a regular GM. But I don't see it changing anytime soon. I just don't. I just see the Cowboys being the same Cowboys for the next decade, 15 years, and so on until, they let somebody else run this team, or, just be the GM at least, and be able to kind of put a roster together and leave the coach alone and let the coach do, focus more on the game plan and all that, and let him make decisions on his own, not like the Joneses.
But the problem with, and the thing is, it's been this way since the 90s, since the mid-90s with the Cowboys. They've been doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results, and they haven't gotten different results. Now, they haven't been a joke because they've been able to put a talented team on the field. The biggest problem for the Cowboys, and been a problem for over a quarter century, is they cannot get over the hump. They've never been a great team since they won the Super Bowl in 1995. They cannot get over the hump. And I think, and obviously the biggest reason is when they get into these big games, they go up against A, better rosters, B, better quarterbacks, and C, and most importantly, and what's been the biggest issue is better coaches. They go up against all this in these big games. And the problem is the Cowboys upper management says, we're winning games. We're competitive every year. Yeah, but the problem is you're not getting to the next step, and you haven't gotten to the next step. Not only have you not been to a Super Bowl, you haven't even been to an NFC Championship game. So the reason they're not getting to the next step is they just want, the owner of the front office just wants to do things the same way and do this. They want to do the same way, and they're expecting different results, and that's just not been happening. No,
it hasn't. You got to think it gets, Jerry's probably a stubborn guy, but it's like, the Cowboys spend. Again, I'm not totally sure, but we can, the Cowboys always are up there in payroll. For a team, they're probably top 5, top 3, top of the team every year in payroll spent for their team too. It's something at one point or another, if Jerry hasn't figured out now that he's the issue, he never will. And that's a problem because it's like they always spend. They always have a good roster that's going to compete, but as you mentioned, they just never have, look, Dak's not a top 5 quarterback, but he's good enough with this roster to get them to the Super Bowl. Tony Romo wasn't a top 5, top 10 quarterback, but he was good enough with the roster. You know, if they had a good coach, you know, somebody other than Garrett, he would have been good enough to get that team to the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's been the problem. It's the coaching. They have the roster. I think they've had a good enough quarterback. Yeah, they haven't had like the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady in a while, but I think they've had good enough quarterbacks to be able to get them over the hump. It's been the coaching that has set them back so many years.
Exactly. So we'll stay in the NFC East, and today, and we got another Cowboy. You got to remember, Cowboy fans are casual, so they always think that they are legit. Jerry hears that, and it makes you, and that's another issue. The Cowboy fans constantly so there's some Cowboy fans, especially down in Dallas, that defend Jerry Jones, and they're good enough being competitive. They just care about being competitive, and when Jerry Jones says, "I'll do anything to win a Super Bowl," no, you're not doing anything to win a Super Bowl because you haven't stepped down as GM when your team hasn't been to an NFC Championship game in over a quarter century. So you're not doing everything to win a Super Bowl. And Cowboy fans, the fans don't hold them accountable for it, and they think that the Cowboys are doing the right thing. It's not our organization's fault. It's the refs' fault why we're not winning. But then that's what they're wrong about. It's the way you're structured is the reason you're not getting as far. You're not getting deep in the playoffs. So that's the problem. Yeah, it probably just hit the nail on the head. Cowboy fans just don't hold Jerry accountable enough.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it seems like up here they do. For whatever reason, down in Dallas they don't, because it seems
that's the thing.
Most of it, yeah, it's like most of my Cowboy friends I know, like they don't like Jerry. Like they want Jerry to be gone. They want him to step down. But yeah, it'll be good to hear from a true Cowboys fan and not.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. And we got a couple. We got a couple here on CMG. We got Jared and we got Sandra, who are true Cowboy fans and not obnoxious ones. They're realistic. They were buying into the fact what I was saying. The last couple of weeks of the season where they were good enough to win the division, maybe win a playoff game, but outside of that, they probably weren't going to go far. So yeah, that's the thing. And the problem is probably the fans down in Dallas that worship the team and don't want to criticize the team and never think it's the team's fault. But the problem is the reason they're not advancing is what's happening the reason they're not advancing is because of the front office.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's their problem. It's just, again, that probably just, again, he probably hears all that noise down there in Dallas and just, is okay. They're all right. They're on my side here. We got them against the reps. Yeah, like it, he hears all that. He definitely hears all that, and he's okay with it. And he's hoping one year that they finally just get over the hump and, he finally gets there. But yeah, as you mentioned, I don't see that happening. And you got to think at some point, Dallas fans down in Dallas kind of figure that out and get upset about that they haven't gotten there. But it's surprising. I know, like the North, especially I know in like the Northeast, like we take, like I know, like we're so much more uptight about our teams. More like I know, like out west is a different mentality, but still, like at some point, you think maybe Dallas kind of figures it out, and Jerry Jones kind of figures it out. Like, maybe I am the problem here.
And you make a good point. You look at your team with the Patriots; they're really upset with Bill Belichick right now. They want Tom. They feel like if we still had Tom Brady, and that's the truth, we'd be Super Bowl contenders. They're not willing. If Bill Belichick, if the Patriots continue to do what they're doing, those fans are going to run Belichick out. This might sound crazy. They're going to run Belichick out of New England because these Patriot fans, they expect to be on top, and there are probably a lot of Patriot fans that are upset about not having Tom Brady in Tampa. They would still want him on their team. And then you look at the Eagle fans; they were willing to run Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman out after they won a Super Bowl, 3 or 4 years ago. So yeah, in the Northeast, it's definitely more intense. And that's the thing about fans in Dallas; they seem to accept the fact that the Cowboys are just competitive and not on a championship level.
Yeah, no, it is. It is crazy. It's such a different mentality because, again, like I think talking about the Patriots, people are not happy with Bill and kind of letting Brady go. Now, nobody's really blaming Mac. I think a lot of people around here do like Mac, and a lot of Patriots fans do like him and kind of see the potential. But yeah, like again, he's not Tom Brady. He probably never will be Tom Brady, and you see what he's doing. Yeah, like it makes a lot of Patriot fans upset. But yeah, it's crazy down in Dallas because it's you kind of follow Texas Longhorn sports, and it's like they already want Chris Beard fired, and he's been here. It's only been 2 months of him coaching. Like they want Steve Sarkisian fired. Like there must not be a lot of Texas fans that are Dallas fans because if that was the case, I think they'd been calling for Jerry's head for 20 years, and doesn't seem like it's happening. So for whatever reason, it's the Texas sports they're uptight about, but not the Cowboys. So yeah, until fans get really upset with Jerry, maybe he starts to feel the pressure, but who knows? It's really sad when a team like Jacksonville can get to change the game before Dallas. During their 26-year drought.
And Jacksonville's gotten to 3 conference championship games before Dallas has gone to 1, 96, 99, and then 2017. The Jaguars have gotten to 3 NFC title games before the Cowboys have gotten to 1. And I saw the Cowboys playoff record. They're 3-11 since in the last they've won 3 of their last 14 playoff games. I've seen their playoff record. It's right down at the bottom. It's right down at the bottom of the league.
Oof, that's wow. That's horrible for a team that's got as much talent as they do year in, year out, for all the resources they have. Again, that's unacceptable. And I can't believe the fans put up with that down there. I really can't. I know it's kind of the excuse maker down there, but that is insane. 3-11 for a team that has all the talent in the world, that they should be able to get there. They should be able to get to the Super Bowl. They have the talent. Dak Prescott's good enough to get them to the Super Bowl. I don't know. I just don't look, if it hasn't changed in 25, 26 years, I just don't know when it's going to actually change that. It just, I can't see it changing anytime soon. I just can't.
Nope. I just feel like Jerry's just going to continue to be the GM. They're going to continue to do the same thing and expect different results, and probably not get different results. But we'll move on in the NFCs. We'll talk about the Eagles now. And Jalen Hurts, Howie Roseman said today, Jalen Hurts is going to be back as the starting quarterback for the 2022 season. I think it's a good move. I just don't think there's anyone else. You still don't have to pay Hurts. He's still on the 3rd year of his rookie deal. You don't have to pay him. And I feel like there's really not a quarterback coming out of this class that's better than him. I'm more concerned about, if I'm the Eagles, I'm more concerned about Nick Sirianni than I am about Jalen Hurts. I feel like Jalen Hurts has issues with accuracy and decision making, but I'm concerned. I'm a little bit more concerned about Nick Sirianni. I think Doug Peterson was clearly a better coach than him. I think Doug and Hurts would work better than Sirianni and Hurts. I feel like Sirianni, some of these slow starts, and it finally caught up to him in the playoff game. Some of the terrible starts they got off to in games, even during the winning streak. The bad starts against Washington, the bad start against the Giants, ended up catching up to him against a good team. I think Sirianni did a decent job this year, but I'd be more concerned with him going forward than I would be with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, absolutely. I would too. It's I think Jalen Hurts is good enough, especially in this division right now, to get them to a wild card game every year, get them to the playoffs. And they have 3 first-round draft picks this year, so we'll see what they do with them. But yeah, I thought, Jalen Hurts is a competitor. I think, for Jalen too, I think it's going to really help is we got to remember too. This year was like the 4th year in a row that he's in a new offensive system. You think about Alabama, the final year he was there. Then he transfers to Oklahoma. Then his first year in Philly with Doug Peterson, that staff. And now with a new one in Nick Sirianni. So it's he's finally going to get some stability too, which I think is going to help him, because that's got to be a lot. Learning 4 different playbooks in 4 years. Again, that's a lot of kind of information, plays that you're getting through. So I think Jalen Hurts is only getting better. I like him. He's a competitor. I have a lot of respect for him for, kind of what happened there at the end of Alabama there, and being able to come back, leading us to a national championship. So, I do think it's a good move for the Eagles to keep him around. Hopefully they can kind of upgrade some stuff around him with that offensive line a little bit more. Maybe get him another actual, wide receiver one that doesn't turn into a bust. Devontae Smith looked good this year, but yeah, I think it was a good move for the Eagles. And yeah, Sirianni, they beat all the bad teams, but he's not beating anybody that they shouldn't yet. And yeah, as you mentioned, the slow starts were, again, usually that's, usually the good coaches kind of figure out a good game plan early on. And like Kyle Shanahan, it seems like San Francisco goes up 7-0 every game because he scripts out a great offensive, those drives in his first drives of the game are scripted out, and they're usually beautiful, and the Niners usually go punching in. I don't really see that with Nick Sirianni this year.
No, I just think there's just bad starts to games. It just seems like the Eagles are always flat, starting games. I mean, luckily at the end of the year they got to play, Washington twice, with one of them with Garrett Gilbert, and then they played the Giants with Jacob Fromm. I mean, those are such easy. I mean, one time, the first time I played with Daniel Jones, but yeah, and it's just when you have those kind of games, those are like automatic wins. I mean, it's not coaching is not the reason why you're winning the game. It's just the fact that the two teams you're playing are completely inept at the quarterback position. So yeah, I think Nick Sirianni did a decent job, but I am definitely not sold on him going forward. I think Joe Hurts has more of a chance to be the franchise quarterback than he has a chance to be the coach of the future in Philadelphia.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially Philly, as we mentioned, that's a tough city. If you're not winning there, especially now, like again, you got to the playoffs this year. I know you kind of took advantage of an easy schedule, especially toward the end of the year. But like now, Eagle fans are going to expect this team to win, to improve and win, like 10, 11 games next year. Again, if they take a step backwards, yeah, he's definitely going to be in the hot seat going to year 3. I don't think he'd get fired after next year, but definitely going to year 3. There would be a lot of pressure on if they don't take that next step forward, especially who knows what's going to happen in the NFC East besides behind Dallas. They should probably finish second right now. Once again, and they should be competing again for a wild card again next year. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Sirianni could, is the one more in trouble right now than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, definitely. So before we wrap up, we'll talk about the Raiders, and they have fired GM Mike Mayock, and this move, I feel like it's not a good move for Rich Bisaccia. I feel like I think they're getting rid of all the people that were there with Gruden. I think Mayock was there with Gruden; they're going to get rid of him. I don't think they're going to hire Bisaccia, and I think unfortunately this could really hurt Derek Carr's future with the team. I think they're going to go through a rebuild, and I think but I do think Mike Mayock did not build the greatest roster around Derek Carr. I mean, some of those first-round picks were absolutely terrible. Damon Arnett, Cleveland Furrow. We don't even need to get into Henry Ruggs. I mean, just some of the first-round picks were just either poor character or they just were not good players. I think bad first-round picks. I think where they were lucky why Mayock's record wasn't terrible as a GM was because they had a good quarterback. Derek Carr covered up a lot of things in Oakland. With the Raiders or even Vegas that were just not good. I mean, Derek Carr covered up a lot. I think Derek Carr is a very underrated quarterback. And let me tell you, you put him on a Browns or a Steelers next year, that's a playoff team. So I think this hurts the future definitely hurts the future for Rich Bisaccia. I do think it hurts the future for Derek Carr. With 1 year left on his deal and the Raiders don't owe him dead money, they may just move on with the new GM and head coach. They may just realize, you know what, our roster, even though we got to the playoffs, we're not good enough to compete for a championship. We're just going to start over. And I think the Raiders could potentially, it wouldn't be a good move, but I think potentially might trade Derek Carr.
Yeah, that's like stink because I do like watching Derek Carr, Las Vegas, in Oakland, and growing up as a Raider fan. Yeah, and be able to go through all the downfalls this year, the very thing that happened, and still being able to lead in a playoff. Like, yeah, and he's been over very underrated because he has played in Oakland and Las Vegas in his career. Disrespected too is another good one. He has. Again, I mentioned that he should have won he on his way to win that MVP 2016. If he didn't break his ankle or leg, whatever it was, he had a very good shot to win the MVP that season. He was great. It'd be unfortunate to see him leave Vegas, especially with a team that or teams that, again, it's not a great QB draft here that are looking for a quarterback. It's very possible that Derek Carr could be shipped out. Fortunately, that would sink, and I miss seeing Carr playing in Vegas. The one thing about Mayock is my brother was telling me this, that it was Gruden that was in charge of the first round picks, and Mayock would make round 2 through 7. And if that's the case, he's found a lot of gems. He found a lot of gems in that area. Again, like Max Crosby, what was he, 4th, 5th rounder? He's turned into a force, in his career, so far in his young career. Like, if that's the case, then, because I know Gruden brought him in here pretty much just to draft because, Gruden's track record has been awful drafting throughout his career. So if that's the case, then, and I know, so like, and it makes sense why the Raiders are kind of trying to get all the stench out of Gruden. Because I know my brother wanted to keep Mayock. I don't remember if my dad wanted to keep him as well. I know my brother wanted Mayock to stay. He wasn't shocked when he got fired, but unfortunately, unfortunately, it kind of, for the Raiders, they're probably gonna go into rebuild mode. After what they did this year, led by Derek Carr to get them somehow to the playoffs was unbelievable. But yeah, again, the Raiders look like they're going to enter another rebuild, which unfortunately for them, it's every 3-4 years. They just have to keep resetting things, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, exactly. We thought we saw the Raiders, making some strides this year with Derek Carr, but I feel like they're going to go into rebuild. So, it should be interesting to see what the NFL, with the games this week with the NFL and what the news is going to be. Next week we'll probably be talking about coaches being hired, because I feel like there's going to be by the time before our show next week, I feel like there's going to be coaches that are going to be hired. But we got a major injury in the NBA. Kevin Durant's going to miss at least a month. But before we talk about that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Attention all basketball fans. CMG Sports presents the Posting Up Podcast, where Lucas Bolduc, Sean Scanlon, and Kings A discuss the latest news and topics throughout the NBA. So, if you have a love for basketball, make sure you check out the Posting Up Podcast, live every Tuesday and Saturday on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Also available for download on every podcast platform.
So on Saturday night, the Nets lost Kevin Durant for the season lost Kevin Durant for 4 to 6 weeks with a sprained MCL. He's going to be out for at least a month. And the big question here is going to be, obviously, with Kyrie Irving only playing in road games, are the Nets going to be able to get the number one seed? Is this going to cost the Nets getting the number one seed? And I honestly feel like it's not, because I feel like, personally, I just don't trust a team in the Eastern Conference to take over that number one seed. Milwaukee hasn't been great this year. Chicago, we know they're a fraud. They've looked like a fraud last week, getting beat by the Warriors, getting beat by the Grizzlies, getting beat by the Nets handedly. I feel like Chicago's a fraud. And Miami, they haven't been healthy either. So I honestly think the Nets, even without Kevin Durant, because half the games are still going to have Kyrie and Harden. So even without Durant, I mean, and they're only going to have him out for, they're probably going to get him back by probably, late February, early March. I think the Nets still get the number one seed.
Yeah, I could totally see it, because they've only played 20 road games, and they played 23 home games. So they've been much better on the road than at home. So yeah, Kyrie's going to play still, 22 games they have left on the road. So yeah, I could totally see it. The Bulls in the last week have not looked great. I know the Cavs, they've already kind of been through the tough part of their schedule, but yeah, can they keep it up? Shouldn't the Knicks try to drop to the 60 so Kyrie could play 4 games instead of 3?
You don't really want to. I don't think you want to do that.
It's risky.
It's risky. Yeah, you don't want to be playing on the road. You don't want to be playing on the road. And I'm telling you, in some of these playoff games, I'm telling you that Harden and Durant are good enough. Honestly, without Kyrie, I still think they're good enough to win the Eastern Conference. I'm sorry. I mean, which other team? Miami, Milwaukee, or Chicago has 2 superstars like James Harden and Kevin Durant. They don't. And the reason why, the Nets did not beat the Bucks last year was not because they didn't have Kyrie Irving. It's because James Harden wasn't healthy. That's why they didn't beat the Bucks last year. So I don't think they should drop. I think honestly, to get to the NBA Finals, I think KD and Harden are enough. And having Kyrie play the road games, which are, especially at home, I think Harden and KD, a healthy Harden and KD at home, are going to be enough, and then Kyrie playing the road games. I think I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, they should be able to, and then they should be getting Joe Harris back, who's a nice player too. That again, I know he's a very streaky shooter, but he's a guy too that could put up 30 for you one night. And he's supposed to come back this weekend or next weekend. So like, Joe Harris coming back too is going to help as well, kind of be that third guy when they don't have Kyrie Irving, if it's a home game, or even now with Kevin Durant being out. So yeah, it's I'm like, the Nets have been a much better team on the road than at home for whatever reason. But yeah, when you get a playoff basketball, it's probably better. It's probably the safer bet to play at home because they are good enough, and it's like DeMar DeRozan's having an unbelievable season, but it's like, can he really keep it up for an 82-game pace? I don't really know.
You're seeing how fraudulent that Bulls team is. You're seeing how fraudulent that Bulls team is this week. That team is totally fraudulent. They will not get out of the second. If the Heat, the Bucks, and the Nets are healthy, there is no way that team gets out of the second round of the playoffs. We've seen this with DeMar DeRozan for years. DeMar DeRozan is a very good player. His lack of three-point shooting is what costs him, and it's going to cost him again. And it's why the Bulls will be lucky to maybe win one playoff series at best. One playoff series at best. Total fraudulent team. Of course, I think the Bulls are frauds. Pride, come on. You've been watching. Honestly, the last four games should prove enough. Getting crushed to the Nets, getting crushed to the Warriors, getting crushed by the Grizzlies, getting crushed. Those 3 games should be enough to tell you the Bulls are total frauds. They are total frauds. They're not getting to the conference finals. Yes, they're building something in Chicago. I'm getting it. They're a little bit ahead of schedule with the record they have. That team ain't making a deep playoff run. I guarantee you that. No,
I'm with you. I don't think they are either. I'm like, their schedule was not difficult so far. Like going through it, like it really had. Like I don't think they've played like the really tough part of it yet. Their division's not great. I know the Cavs have been having a really good year as well. But yeah, the DeRozan, the issue there, the 3-point shooting. I know Lonzo's been hurt. I know Levine's hurt now too. Like they got blown out again. I know the Warriors are a good team, but you can't give up 140 in a game. You lose a Celtics who it's a team. The Celtics can't close out a close game so far this year.
Oh, I know. That's another team. They were up like a couple weeks ago. They were up like 20 on the Knicks, and they couldn't win the game. Yeah, you lose to the Celtics. Come on now. Come on.
Yeah. And then the Grizzlies, I know I've had a good year too, but you lose there as well. Like the last week had not been good. My Celtics are down.
Oh, your Celtics are down. They got to get they got to get. No, they don't miss Kemba. I feel like one of their 2 best players can't. They're both good individually, but they can't make anybody else around them better. That's the problem. They're both clearly not top 10 players. Tatum's good, but he's clearly not top 10. But neither is Jaylen Brown. They don't make guys around them better. That's the problem. That's the problem with the Celtics.
Yeah, the superstars do that. Just the Giannis's do that. All the stars you want to go through. Do that, Kyrie's, the Hardens, the Durants, they make everybody else around them better. The Celtics, have not done that. They can't close out a close game. Like it just, they got to shake up that core. The Celtics, whenever this offseason or towards the trade deadline here, because it's been a down year for Boston. They have not been great either. That I did see that like the end of I saw the Knicks were down by like 20, and I turned it back on a couple weeks ago, and I was like shocked that it was a tie game, but I guess I shouldn't have because the Celtics have not closed out anybody all year. It's crazy, but Celtics are having another rough year. Going back to Nets, they should be able to. Great, we haven't even been good.
I know. It's been the last 2 years with the Celtics. I mean, I feel like I felt like keeping Brad Stevens in the building. I thought what they should have done was keep Danny Ainge and get rid of Brad Stevens. And I felt like Ainge maybe would have hired a better coach because I'm not confident with that coach either. I think that's the problem with the Celtics. I feel like they really don't have much of a direction. I think as I said before the season, they're a team going sideways. They're not a team going forward. They're not a good team. They're not a team that's going in the right direction.
Yeah, I know they just got Bull last night. It's like, what is that really accomplishing?
Please, a guy with upside, please.
Yeah. He hasn't been healthy. That's been his issue since Oregon. He's not been healthy. He's got Blake's foot issues or whatever. That's been his problem. I think he could be a talented player, but he just can never stay healthy on the floor. Like the Celtics, it's weird. Like what because because I think they should, shake up that core and try to figure something out, because they've had Smart for a while. It really hasn't worked. Obviously, Tatum Brown's been there for a few years. Like, they had time to maybe ship one of them out and try to, go into sort of a rebuild here with the Celtics. But, I don't know if the Celtic fans want that, or I don't know if the front office wants it. Yeah, bringing back Brad Stevens, moving him upstairs was very interesting role. I know, because Danny Ainge's been doing a pretty good job so far at Utah, seems like. But it's been a very interesting for the Celtics. It's just team over 500. That's what they've been all year, just right around that 500 mark all year. They haven't really been below that or gotten like 4 or 5 games over 500. It's just been a very mediocre team.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the Nets, though, I just feel like, this is a team that I don't trust anyone on top of the East. There's no Suns or Warriors on top of the East, 2 teams that you could trust. I just don't trust anyone on top to be able to, get that number 1 seed. So that's why I feel like the Nets are getting the number 1 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally see it. With the Heat, I trust the Heat. I know their roster's not like the best in the world, and the Nets do have a better roster. You do have Oladipo coming back next week, I believe. Again, that could be a huge kind of addition there for Miami to kind of get them over and keep them there at the 1. But that's like the only team. I don't believe in the Cavs either. I don't believe in the Bulls. The Bucks. I can see the Bucks going on a streak just because they are good enough. But fair to say the NBA Finals winner will be whoever comes out of the West. Absolutely. Unless it's the Nets. Unless it's the Nets.
Yeah. I feel like the Nets could definitely beat the Warriors or the Suns. I feel like the Warriors are the favorite once they get everything together. Once Clay and Steph start getting the chemistry back, and once everything comes together, I feel like the Warriors are going to be the favorite. But I do think if the Nets come out of there, I do think that the Nets have a very, very good chance to beat the Warriors. I think the Warriors and the Nets are the 2 best teams. I'd probably say right now the Suns. It's tough between the Bucks and Suns because the Bucks beat them last year, but I just feel like the Suns are playing a little bit better this year. So I'd probably say that the Suns are third. But I think that unless it's the Nets, I think the Finals winner will come out of the West.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because the Nets have the most talent, in the NBA. They really do with the big 3 there. And the Warriors have a lot of talent too. And who knows by June too? By June or July, hopefully, COVID kind of, this new variant is kind of gone, and maybe the restrictions are gone of Kyrie having to be vaccinated at home. Maybe by June that's 6 months, 5-6 months away. Maybe it's different, and you got Kyrie for 7 games. I absolutely think the Nets, could beat anybody in the Western Conference. It's the Lakers. The Lakers aren't a contender. The Suns, the Suns and Warriors are the 2 teams that you got to worry about the most. Those 2, could give them. I'll give Jason's Jazz 2 there some credit. I think the Jazz, but I think the Nets are still a better team than the Jazz. But I think besides the Nets coming out of the East, maybe the Bucks I could see going on a roll and getting out of there. But I still think I'd still probably take the Warriors and Suns over Milwaukee. I think they have more overall talent than the Bucks do.
Yeah. So the other question is how is this going to impact the MVP? How is it going to impact Durant's chance to win the MVP? I think it does. I think right now, if the Warriors end up with the best record in the Western Conference, I think Steph Curry gets the MVP.
Yeah, I think it's good to be Curry because the last time MVPs won after missing 11 or more games with Bill Walton back in 76, 77. So, I think it's going to probably be Steph Curry. If they stay healthy, and they get that 1 seed in the Western Conference, I could absolutely see it being Steph Curry getting another MVP award. I do think this pretty much takes Durant out of that MVP chase. And with Steph's crazy shooting slump, he's gone through it a couple of times, it feels like in his career. I think Steph's too good of a shooter to be in this role too long. I think another game or two, and I think he snaps out of it. He's just too good of a shooter to have that prolonged too much farther.
And his team's playing great. He makes his teammates better around him. I think if they end up with the best record in the West, it's going to be Steph Curry.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. I think it will. I think he'll be fine. Because I think it's gonna be him as too. Because I expect him. Because you're right, he makes everybody else better. Klay Thompson coming back is gonna be. It's been a great. Andrew Wiggins been playing really well. He makes everybody else around him. Again, to that team to just even make the play-in round last year was pretty impressive. To just just by pretty much himself. Because Wiseman was out most of the year, one of their picks. It was pretty much him carrying that team on his back in a Western Conference that it's pretty tough to I know it's a little bit down this year, but last year too, there's a lot of talented teams, and for them just to get there, I think it shows a lot about Curry and how he can really carry team like that and make everybody else better around him.
Exactly. So we're going to wrap up talking some college basketball. We'll obviously start with UConn. Got a win last night. Justin was there, 76-59 over Butler. Obviously, RJ called a nice night. He had that crazy three-point shot. Sanaga was good in the second half. Andrew Jackson had a good game for UConn. They got Hawkins and Polley to contribute off the bench too. And this was a good win. A win they were supposed to have, though. I think Butler is a bottom three team in the Big East with DePaul and with Georgetown. I think this was a win they were expected to get, and I think in tomorrow's game, I think they win. I don't think it's as close because it's at Hinkle Fieldhouse, but I still think they win by double digits tomorrow against Butler.
Yeah, they should. They should. Last night was good. I liked how they pressed Butler to sped them up. That because it was pretty slow there to really begin that game. I thought the press really got it going. Sped up the Bulldogs there because the Bulldogs don't really have a great guard or ball handler. They don't have a great distributor. They're just Butler's not a very good team. Lavelle Jordan's probably going to lose his job at the end of the year. I cannot see him coming back next year. But yeah, it's a weird home and home kind of NBA kind of schedule thing here with COVID and all that. But yeah, they should win by double digits. Butler's a team that they return 95% of the scoring and they still just have not gotten better. They can't hit a free throw as well.
Yeah, they return 95% of their scoring and nobody averages more than 10 points.
No, it's like they have 7 guys that average 9 to 6, 7 points. But yeah, they don't have that one guy that kind of take over a game, and that's kind of been the problem. Is they have a couple of okay pieces, but yeah, in the Big East, they're just not good enough to kind of do enough because they can't score. Their defense is okay, but they can't rebound. They don't have a ton of size either. You kind of saw Sanago be able to really kind of get after him on the glass, and but yeah, Butler's probably right there with Georgetown as probably the worst team. I think DePaul's probably a little bit better than both of them, but they're right there. Yeah, they're bad. They just have not fit the Big East footprint the last few years. But yeah, they should go on the road, go double digits. You got Georgetown at home next Tuesday, then you got DePaul next Saturday, and then you got Creighton February 1st at home. You should really be going to Villanova 16-4. Going to Nova on February the 5th, going to Wells Fargo Center.
Yeah, you made a good point. The schedule is very soft. This is a really good chance to take advantage, and there's a good chance to get to maybe even get to 7-2 in the Big East. Because you should beat Butler, you should obviously beat Georgetown at home at Gamble, you should beat DePaul, and then you should beat Creighton at home. So this is a very good chance to get to 7-2 before that huge game at Wells. As you said, a huge game at Wells Fargo against Villanova.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, and who knows, by then maybe you're sitting in the top 15 and everything goes right. You're sitting there having a chance maybe to, go into that. I think it's the next week or the 12th or the 23rd where they kind of unleash the top 16 teams of the top 4 seeds in the tournament. And, maybe you kind of sitting there with a chance of being one of those 4, in the 4 seed spot. So, yeah, they really should because Georgetown, they're just again, I don't think they can fire Ewing, but hopefully they part ways because they really need to change there. They're so bad. DePaul on the road you should be. Troy Sutterfield's not a very good in-game coach. They tried to blow a 20-point lead with 5 minutes left last week in Seton Hall. They're not good. Creighton's had 7 freshmen. McDermott's doing a really good job. They're starting to get better. But yeah, at home, you got to win that game at the XL Center. That's got to be a win. They should. They really should. They really should blow out some of these teams in incoming. Creighton game I expect to be close, but yeah, Georgetown you should blow out. You should blow up Butler tomorrow night. You should blow out DePaul next Saturday night. They should not really have any kind of kind of anxiety attacks here towards the end of the games like they've had lately here. They should be able to kind of pull away here. And 7-2, still having a chance there to compete for the regular season title. I don't think they're going to get it, but you're still right there. If you somehow steal a game at Villanova, you're still sitting there pretty, hopefully trying, because they should be the number 2 seed going to the Big East. And they really should. I think they are the same best team in the Big East. So they should be sitting there for that 2 spot. And, the only way to do it is to win these next 4 coming up.
This team should definitely, should definitely be, I think, a top 2, top 3 team in the Big East. Obviously, they got that game with Xavier on that Friday night, that makeup game. That's going to be a tough one. They got to go to St. John's, and they do play Seton Hall again, and they got Villanova at home. So, but if they split with Villanova, get revenge against Seton Hall, even if they lose that Xavier game, I still think they got a good shot to get the number 2 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get the splitting problem. Out with Xavier, they did win last year, but that's a tough place to play. Now they'll have fans this year. But yeah, again, if you could try to get a steal, take 2 against Xavier is going to be huge. Obviously, you got to be, Marquette at home. Yeah, if you can get Nova at home is going to be great. It would be huge. Getting to it, Creighton, if they could probably lose one of an Xavier or Creighton on the road, be okay. Nova's going to be a loss on the road. Because I think Nova's probably going to have 3 losses, and I think probably second place is probably going to have around 5-6 losses. Probably them, Georgetown, or them, Providence, and Xavier's going to be right there. Yeah, they should. As long as things stay healthy, as long as, nothing, the injury bug kind of stays away, they definitely should. I expect them to beat Seton Hall at home. That's a gamble game. Again, Nova at home is going to be very difficult, but it's a game you can win. That 3-game home stretch in mid-February, Seton Hall, Xavier, Villanova, is huge. If they can go 3-0, because those are arguably, 3 of the top 4 or 5 teams in the Big East right there that you got at home that week. You can go 3-0 there, you'd be peaking at that point. You're looking really, really good. Heading towards the stretch run of the year.
Absolutely. So we'll wrap up talking about a top 15 matchup in the SEC. You got Kentucky going to Auburn this week, and what does Kentucky have to do to win this game to pull the? Funny, we're saying pull an upset at Auburn.
They got to continue. Ty Washington's got to continue to be, magnificent like he has since pretty much our SEC play. He's averaged 16 points a game at 6.5 assists a game. He had 17 points, 17 assists a few weeks ago in Georgia. He's been shooting the ball a lot better. He's been a good facilitator in this offense. And with his shooting ability, he's gotten Kellen Grady open shots, and Wheeler, Kellen Grady starting to get going. The Davis and the transfer's been playing better. So they need to continue Ty Washington to play well and kind of continue to be good facilitator of this offense. And then, obviously Asher Sheboy, he's been a beast on the post. It's going to be a fun matchup down low between him and, Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler down low. Kentucky's going to need Ty Washington to continue to hit shots, find guys open. And because Saturday they shot in the first half, they're 22 for 28 in the first half against Tennessee. They shot 78%, which was the highest since 1985 that Villanova shot 75% in the first half against Georgetown in the national championship game.
Oh, wow. So what does Auburn got to do to win the game?
Auburn, it's Walker Kessler. I don't know how this kid did not play at North Carolina last year. He only put 8 minutes a game. He's averaging 4 blocks a game. He's been really good down low. He's going to have to protect their ring against Asher Sheboy, who's probably the best rebounder in the country. The guy wants to average 20 rebounds a game in Sheboy. He had 26 a couple weeks ago at somebody. He's been really impressive. They need Kessler to keep playing well. Jabari Smith, who arguably could be the top pick in the NBA draft, he's been unbelievable. He can pretty much do it all. And then Wendell Green coming off the bench. The guy averaged 13 points off the bench at the point guard spot. He's hit he hit a couple deep shots against UConn. He's been doing that all year. He's kind of been that spark plug off the bench. He's going to continue he's got to knock down a couple shots as well for Auburn to win this game, because it seems like Kentucky's starting to shoot the ball a little bit better than they have lately. So could be a shootout, and they're going to need they're going to need Wendell Green to knock down some shots to win this game.
Should be interesting. Should be a great game on Saturday afternoon. But that's going to wrap it up on Sports Talk with R&J. for Trace Garcia, did a great job. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about the conference championship games, UConn basketball, and whatever NBA news comes our way. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
They're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Stinky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.